Welcome back, YouTube. This is Justin here at Pickert Performance. Today we are working on our 5.7 liter LS4 out of our build series. So this is our second episode here, and we just got in something pretty cool. So let's check it out. All right, so today we are looking at our TIC Performance 1/2-inch head stud kit. So I got the block ready. I just taped off all the cylinders. Anywhere that we can get metal shavings or we don't really want it, it's just better to tape it off now than having to blow it out and make sure nothing gets in there. So if you don't know what the 1/2-inch head stud kit is, you have to drill out your head bolts, and we're upping the size of the studs, and what that allows is more clamping force onto the head for the higher horsepower. We are shooting for 1,000 plus, so it's better safe than sorry. We don't want any of them horsepowers leaking out. We want to hold in all the boost. So let's dive into the kit here. So other than the jig here, this is the jig. You lay it on top of your block. It picks up the alignment dowels that you got, and it comes with a bunch of stuff. So for starters, let's look at the difference. So this is all ARP hardware that you get from TIC. So this is ARP head bolt, and this is the 1/2-inch head stud. So you can see the difference there. It's going to make a big difference. So in the kit, you get all your head studs, you get a tap, 2 drill bits, and all of your alignment shims. It's a pretty sweet kit. Really big job to tackle. I've never done it, so we're gonna give it our best shot and hope for the best. You shouldn't mess it up. They come with all the spacers and everything you need. You just have to do your own measurements, so it shouldn't be too bad. So checking out the block, looking into where the head bolts go into the block, you can see it's got like the shoulder area, and then the hole is skinnier where the threads engage. So we got a few things here. This smaller drill bit, pretty much, once we set up our jig, we're taking it in there, we're taking out our old threads, and we're setting our depth. So we're going to go to the same depth as the threads in there now. We got to measure for that, take those out. Then we take our bigger drill bit, and we're going to recreate that shoulder area. So we got to measure and set our guide. So we got to set our guide, and this is going to hold it, keep it steady, and we're going to shed our shoulder there. So drill that in there, set our shoulder. Once that's done, we can take our tap, and it's going to look pretty much like factory, just bigger. It's going to go down to that where that shoulder ends and pick up the threads. Seems pretty easy. Should be pretty straightforward. This really isn't a how-to video. TIC Performance has a very good one. I would recommend checking it out if you're interested in doing this for yourself. They include everything except for measurements. The only thing you got to do is take measurements so you can recreate the dimensions of the shoulder and where your thread engagement is. just like that, we got 1/2-inch studs.
All right, so we're back with the head side of the 1/2-inch head stud project here. These are PRC CNC milled heads for the 5.7 turbo twin turbo project. And this is the TIC Performance drill plate, just like you saw on the block side. This works on the corners here, both the lower corners. There are the guide pins that the heads fit on the block, and then they go in the head to align the plate. And then I just have a couple head studs or head bolts with nuts on them to hold the plate in there while we drill. As you see, they're pretty centered already, but we're going to use the guide and the drill. This comes with a 33/64 drill that we use to drill this out for the head stud. All right, so I'm going to drill these last 2 corner holes. As you can see, I've got the bolts switched around where they've already been drilled to hold the plate down. So I'll get these last 2 done, and then we'll be done with this.
All right, so made some progress on the engine build. Finished up the piston rings that I messed up. Got the rest of the pistons in. Got the heads and block drilled for the 1/2-inch head stud. Just got those slapped on there. Got the cam gear on the cam, the correct 3-bolt one. Got the oil pump on there. Slapped on the comp cams timing cover. It's just loosely on there. So pretty much the next thing is pulling the heads back off. Once we get the lifter trays and the lifters, we can put those back in, put the heads on it, put the push rods and rockers on, and then the engine will be pretty close to done. And then just button up the bottom side of it, putting the sensors in, the oil pickup, small stuff like that. But it is looking pretty good. I do not know what I'm going to do for paint. Normally we paint our blocks and our heads, so if you have any recommendations, let me know in the comments. What color would you guys like to see on this block? Should we leave the heads the color they are? They are decently clean and nice gray color. The block is pretty clean. I'm liking the silver on the timing cover, so just let me know what you guys think. We are doing some polish. We got the polished valet cover, and we have a Messier water manifold. These things are awesome. Shout out to Messier. And you guys over there make great products. So if you're not familiar with this, this bolts up to your water ports, and it is very slim in the car. We've used it a few times and they're just awesome. It makes running the cooling system perfect for electric pumps. So that's what it's looking like. So let me know, definitely let me know what you think about paint. It's either gonna be black or silver, but if you guys want to see some colors, hit up the comment section. Alright, so trying to brainstorm this build a little bit before it goes into the car. This is the Holley low ram intake manifold. This is the lower portion of it. Just an idea of how we're going to run it. We're going to use the TIC Performance upper intake manifold. It also has the lid and intercooler kind of built into together. It's an air to water setup. If you haven't seen it, don't know what it is, I'll upload a picture of it. We are running their regular style. It's like a 3-inch core air to water system. If you haven't seen mine, but it's more compact, sits down lower. I think it'll be a lot better for this build, but something I want to run through before we even think about getting this engine in the car is the steam vents. So on the top of your heads, there's a port on each side, front and back, and it takes the steam out of the system. Most of the time you'll see like the backs will either be capped off or it'll be like joined together. Like the OE style, normally it's capped off in the back, or it's corner coming into one, or sometimes you'll just have these two coming into one. So I think what I want to do is make a hardline kit for this. I think it'll look really clean. Most of the time we just use OEM stuff or make our own kit, but it's softline. I made a kit for John's car, but it was just softline AN stuff. Works really good, nothing wrong with it, but I think it'd be a lot cleaner to do hardline. So obviously you'd pick up hardline from here and there, and I'm thinking you could probably, yeah, I think we can get it underneath the intake manifold. I mean, it's tight, but there's enough room there, instead of coming like up over or like crossing and going over. I think to make it easier, just go underneath the intake manifold. So the back would come forward, and these two would, it'd all come into one block, and then once it goes into the block, it would go into this port here to recycle the steam back into the system. So that's what we're trying to get a brainstorm of it before it goes into the car. It makes doing it outside of the car so much easier. All right, so this is the start of the hardline kit that I'm gonna make. This is kind of the idea of what I'm thinking. Just run it down underneath the intake, plenty of clearance. And then gonna come up to a manifold right here in the center. So I got this manifold in, and just all four of the steam ports are gonna come in here, and the center one's gonna drain it. So kind of what I'm thinking. And then this drain will just go right here like I said. But I think that is gonna make it really clean looking. Got this nice little flaring toolkit from a parts store that I'm renting. Probably not gonna return it. But yeah, I think it's gonna look pretty cool. I had to knock out this one to make sure I still knew how to do it, but let's get all four done. Messed up on this one and kinked it. I got to restart on it. Would you look at that? So I still have one more line to make. It is the return into the manifold, but holy crap, is that hard. It's definitely not perfect, but it's first time doing this. And I think it's just going to give it that little extra kick to this build. So I'm pretty happy with it. Definitely could have taken my time a little bit more and get these 180 bends a little bit more even, but I don't know. I think it's going to work pretty good. What do you guys think about it? Think it's a little extra, or think you'd be able to do it on your own builds? It is finally that time to pull everything off and get this ready for final assembly. So struggling to get the heads off. The holes are a little tight around the studs, but I don't think it's worth it to wallow those holes out and make it a tight fit. We shouldn't have to pull the heads off too many times. Got our lifters and lifter trays and our lube sitting there. Don't want to put those things in dry. We want a nice startup with some assembly lube. So highly recommend using quality lifter trays. We've had issues in the past with cheap aftermarket ones, and it is not a good time. So make sure you use something decent, and got the hardware in, torque to spec. I felt my elbow pop, so I know it was at least good to 18 foot-pounds, so it should be good and tight. That's all you need. And putting the head gaskets on. Now, I wasn't sure exactly what brand to get or size, so we just went with the old school LS9. I know they're bigger than the cylinder boards, but it's an old school trick and people haven't had issues with them, so we figured we'd give them a shot. Also, we struggled putting them on with the bigger head studs. I don't know if it was worth trying to drill them out. I really didn't want to try to take a drill bit to the gaskets and mess them up, so we struggled to get them on, but it wasn't too bad. So popping the heads back on, a little tight fit, no big deal, and getting them ready to torque down. And we went by the ARP recommendation of 3 passes. Final pass was at 70 foot-pounds, and she's good and tight. She's ready for some boost, and hopefully a lot of boost. And always, don't be scared to make sure they are all torqued. I like to go back after I torque them and hit them again with the torque spec. Sometimes you'll find one that's just a tad loose, and it's always good to double check. And then we hit the smaller nuts and torque them. So it is ready to go. Starting to look like an engine again. So we are, I'd say, 90% of the way there. We are waiting on parts as usual. We got the rockers, push rods, and we have a nice set of valve covers on the way for this. And hopefully by the next video, the engine is painted and this thing will be ready to start mock up with the transmission and the cradle. So we have a lot of work to build this cradle, custom fabrication for the mating this to the K-series transmission, which is going to be pretty cool. I don't want to give away too many details, so just have to make sure you come back and watch out for the next video. So thanks for watching. Subscribe and like, and leave comments on stuff you want to see or thoughts on our videos. So we'll see you next time.